Boxing Truth here. I wanted to talk a little bit about Bob Arum recently settling his case, his lawsuit with Haymon, and its significance and what it could mean for the industry, and how the settlement agreement between the two entities and the Haymon Enterprise and Bob Arum's Top Rank Promotions, how the settlement agreement could open the door for perhaps future business, as many speculate in the industry that it's perhaps part of the settlement agreement that Haymon and Arum will guarantee to do future business in the near future. Now, it's been less than a year ever since Bob Arum filed a suit for an antitrust lawsuit against Al Haymon, pretty much claiming that Al Haymon and his investors of the PBC, Wilder and Reed, have tried to rig the boxing industry, use a sophisticated scheme in order to control the industry by pretty much poaching fighters, blocking them from signing with other rival promoters, including Top Rank, venue squatting, denying access to venues for other rival promoters, even though Haymon would not even commit to shows for those venues. Violations of the Muhammad Ali Act, acting as a manager and a promoter at the same time, and all other types of shit. But according to some writers that are close to Arum, initially it wasn't Arum that really wanted to file the lawsuit. It was Todd DeBuff, Bob Arum's stepson, who would pretty much push for the lawsuit to be administered in order to see if Arum could. When Arum filed the lawsuit, he wanted to include Wilder and Reed as in the claim as well, in the lawsuit, but the judge overruled and left Wilder and Reed out of the lawsuit, excluded them out of the lawsuit. And when that happened, the main goal was to see if Bob Arum could scare the PBC investors away in hopes to see the PBC collapse. But after that didn't happen, it became a whole different case. It just became really focused on Haymon. There was a discovery process. A lot of documents were being handed out, or were being shown. And then it became, all of a sudden, it became to a complete halt. It stopped. And then there were rumblings of settlement negotiations. Chris Mannix of Yahoo Sports first reported the story of whispers of a settlement agreement. And now it's come to fruition. However, the details and terms are confidential. There's a confidentiality clause between the two parties, so neither will speak on what exactly the settlement agreements are. What are the details? Is there a guarantee of future business? Is there a guarantee of a Mayweather-Pacquiao rematch? Although Bob Arum disputed that there were any negotiations in the settlements that a Mayweather-Pacquiao rematch had to be a part of the agreement. He said that there was nothing based on the Maypac rematch. It was simply just settlement agreements on other issues. Now, there are people in the industry that are pretty much have theories on why Bob settled. Considering it's been less than a year, he filed suit, and now it's the case is dismissed. It's settled. And there are theories, some whispers saying that why keep beating a dead horse? The PBC is on the verge of bankruptcy. Why not just make some settlement agreements, perhaps get some little cash flow coming in, maybe do some future business with Haymon, maybe get some time slots on some of their remaining PBC cards. Have a little... Have some things come their way. Take it to advantage since there are whispers, a lot of rumblings that PBC's going to the ground. And when you look at the landscape now and you compare it to just a year ago, there's a lot of evidence that the PBC is the money's running dry. You just look at tonight's card between the triple header featuring the junior middleweights, Haymon's junior middleweights, really. And the highest paid fighter is Arizani Lara on the card. And according to reports, he's only getting 700K, which is very low compared to his recent fights. This guy was getting seven figures just recently to feast on cannon fodder opponents, faded no-hopers like John Zavik and Delvin Rodriguez. I remember Lara getting seven figures for those fights. Now he's only getting 700K to fight a decent opponent, a gatekeeper in Vanes Martirosyan in a rematch. So perhaps Arum, who pretty much hears the same whispers about PBC, he looks at the financials, the stats, how the money just is running out. Purses are going back to normal. There's not many PBC cards taking place. No Marv Albert, no glamour, no ring stage. They're making cuts. And also look at the quality of some of the cards for PBC. I'm not talking about Showtime, because Showtime is not PBC. They provide license fees. They're no time by network. They pay Haymon to showcase fights on their network, while ESPN, NBC, they get paid to show Haymon's product. So that's the difference. But look at NBC's next card for the NBC on PBC. I mean, if it's not going to the ground, the PBC, and if Haymon is trying to convince some of these networks to buy his product, you would think he would put on some better fights. Well, why for that June 18th NBC on PBC card are we getting an Andre Fonfara showcase? I mean, he's fighting a no-name guy, a no-name opponent. No one's ever heard of the dude. I don't even remember his name. But that's a main event on a primetime, a Andre Fonfara showcase bout. So it just makes you wonder. But this is good news for boxing fans, though. I mean, this settlement agreement and what's being reported, what's being written, what people speculate in the industry, most likely there's guaranteed future business that's going to go down between these two entities, Haymon and Bob Arum. And that's only good for the sport. It's only good for boxing fans. I mean, there are some good matchups that could be made between both entities, both power brokers. Both guys have good fighters, name fighters, and fights that are significant and people want to see. I mean, who doesn't want to see Lomachenko and Walters mix it up with some of the Haymon's featherweights? I know those guys are campaigning at 130, but perhaps some of Haymon's guys can move up to 130. Perhaps Lomachenko will move back down to 26 if he can fight some of the other champions, since he was boxed out and couldn't get any unification bouts against the likes of Santa Cruz and Lee Selby and a Carl Frampton and a Garrett Russell, a rematch with Garrett Russell. Who doesn't want to see the welterweights mix it up? Jesse Vargas, Timothy Bradley, and Sean Porter, Keith Thurman, Danny Garcia. I mean, there's fights that could be made at super middleweight. Zito Ramirez could unify with the other Haymon super middleweights in the division, like Badu Jack and James DeGale. Unification bouts that could be made. Significant fights in many divisions. Who doesn't want to see Terrence Crawford fight some Haymon welterweights and also an Adrian Broner fight? So there are definitely fights that could be made, fights that are significant to the boxing world, fights that some fans want to see. And when it comes to Arum and when he initially filed suit against Haymon, Haymon's been knew what Haymon's been alleged to be doing with boxing and the shit that he's alleged to be doing, poaching fighters, blocking them from signing for rival promoters. But when you fuck with Arum's money, he's gonna sue you. And that's what Haymon was doing when he created the PBC venture, and bought all these time slots, boxed out Arum, He boxed him out from signing fighters and took away dates, took away venues. So Arum had to do something in order to get some of his guys more time slots, more dates, more fights to be made with some of his clients, and in order to keep his clients more active, because all he has is HBO right now, and he has a network to where to build some of his prospects like Unamas, but he doesn't have any other networks to keep some of his star clients active, like Terrence Crawford, Zerto Ramirez, and Victor Postal. He needs more dates, and HBO has limited dates, and they also have to include other promoters because they don't just do business with one promoter. They do business with a bunch of different promoters, and there's just limited dates that can be given to some of the promoters affiliated with HBO. Also, they haven't gone through some budget issues, so Arum has to make some fights that don't belong on pay-per-view, like Crawford Postal, on the pay-per-view platform, because the HBO simply has no money to provide a license fee to accommodate all the parties involved for the Crawford Postal fight, in order to get those guys paid what they feel they deserve for a unification bout, significant fight. So perhaps with this settlement agreement, Haymon will be guaranteed to do future business with Arum, which is good for Arum and boxing fans. He wants to match some of his fighters, pretty much fighters he knows that could trash some of the Haymon clients. Like, he wants to match Terrence Crawford against Broner. I pretty much know why. He feels Terrence Crawford will beat the shit out of Adrian Broner. Most likely he will. He wants to match Jesse Vargas with Danny Garcia, even though he's probably going to be fighting Kell Brook. But that's a good competitive fight, 50-50. Not sure who wins that fight. I had to do a lot of studying with that fight. Other fights, like Loma and Santa Cruz. Bob Arum feels Loma will give Santa Cruz a boxing lesson. That's a great fight. I would love to see that fight. Santa Cruz would bring it. I'm not sure. He would bring it to Lomachenko. It won't be easy work, but I favor Loma because of his abilities, but it definitely won't be easy work. That'd be a tough fight, and it'd be a great fight. A good fight to see. And perhaps Bob Arum could get some slots in some of the remaining PBC cards Haymon has. And that's not a bad thing at all. I mean, why not have some top ranked fighters on PBC? I don't know what's the status on PBC. There's still remaining cards, but not many great fights being made on those platforms. Disappointing NBC on PBC card. Very weak main event featuring Andre Fanfare. So many better fights out there to be made with him. But for whatever reason, Haymon's not delivering him those fights. But this is a step in the right direction. Maybe boxing could finally fix itself with this bullshit political divide. How rival promoters just refuse to work with each other. Don't want to take risks, want to keep things in-house, want to protect guys, want to keep feeding them marginal opposition, cannon fodder, no-hopers. I mean, yeah, it's a business. Yes, you have to build fights. But, these guys have hardly done any business with each other for a while. I mean, take out Mayweather and Pacquiao. The only way Haymon and Bob Arum ever did business with each other was because of vacant title shots, mandatories, purse bids, or it needed to make $500 million. That's the only way they did business with each other. So while Bob Arum is stating that there's no guarantee of future business, there's a great possibility, which most likely will mean we will see some top-ranked fighters against some Haymon clients, which is only good news for the sport. It means those guys have some of the bigger name fighters They definitely should fight each other. There's significant fights to be made, and maybe finally a steady relationship between the two. Maybe Haymon will let Arum some dates on Showtime, maybe on some remaining PBC cards, maybe a Mayweather-Pacquiao rematch, but who knows how well received that fight will be by the boxing public. It left a bad taste in a lot of boxing fans' mouths. I mean, the bullshit that went on. Perhaps it's still the biggest fight out there that can be made. Won't probably maybe it could still do half the business it did as the first fight. A lot of things to take into consideration. What's going on with PBC? Is that why Arum decided to settle? Because he knows PBC is going bankrupt. Why not get a few dates on some of the slots when they're still afloat? Guarantees a future business. Mayweather-Pacquiao rematch. Unifications to be made in many divisions against top fighters. But this is definitely good news, and it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out and whether we'll finally get some steady business between Al Haymon and Bob Arum. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.